I am now parasocially invested in the status of John Logan's mental health. So I am supposed to be rewatching House of the Dragon Season 2 right now so I can make recaps and get caught up before Season 3 comes out in June. That was my plan. That was my schedule. However, I was out the other night and one of my friends suggested that I watch Off Campus on Prime. And what can I say? My curiosity got the better of me. Now, I have heard of this show before. I heard people online talking about it and saying that it was like the straight heated rivalry. I love heated rivalry, so ergo, I will love this just as much, right? Right, sort of, not exactly. Is it similar to heated rivalry? No. Is it as good as heated rivalry? Also, no. Did I like it as much as heated rivalry? Again, no. But is it ridiculously entertaining and everything that I love in a TV show? Absolutely yes. Now, if you're employed or just a casual TV watcher, you may be unfamiliar with Off Campus. Should you watch it? Maybe. If I'm comparing it to other TV shows, both in premise and quality, I would not compare it to Heated Rivalry. They both theoretically involve hockey and a romance, but that's where the similarities end. I would more compare it to Bridgerton, or maybe The Summer I Turned Pretty. If you like either of those shows, you will probably like Off Campus. It is cheesy, it is romantic, it is an absolute roller coaster of drama and poor choices. And I had to come on here and talk about it. I will be spoiling the show, but if you don't think you're gonna watch it, why not stick around so you can be in the know? And if you have watched it, please comment your favorite characters. I'll just tell you right now, the top of my list is Dean and Allie, followed closely by Tucker. Now allow me to paint a picture for you, really put you into the world of Off Campus. It is set at Briar U, a college that exists in a universe where hockey is the most important sport on the planet. And listen, I'm sure that's the world that some of you exist in right now, but I'm from the southern United States, so that is not my truth. We are at Briar University following the lives and loves of these 4 hockey players that are best friends and live together in a house off campus. Get it? Because it's the title of the show. Anyway, they live in one big hockey house. Meet Garrett Graham. He is the captain of the hockey team at Briar U and the son of a famous retired NHL player. Sometimes I'll call him Garrett, sometimes I'll call him Graham. The show plays fast and loose with it, so I will too. Garrett has a strict no girlfriends policy so he can stay focused on his goals, winning the college hockey championship and getting drafted to the Boston Bruins when he graduates. His 3 roommates are Dean DeLaurentis, John Tucker, and John Logan. John Logan has a little sister named Jules. And Jules is Gossip Girl Hockey Edition. She posts updates and gossip about the hockey team, which everyone is just cool with. Like, girl, you're in college. Don't piss me off. Then we have the lead of the season, Hannah Wells, aka Wellesley. She is a music composition major, and she lives in the dorms with her best friend, Allie Hayes. Allie has a boyfriend that she's been dating for 2 years named Sean, and Sean does not get a last name because he is not important. Hannah and Garrett begin a friendship when they strike a mutually beneficial deal. Hannah will tutor Garrett to help him pass their philosophy class, and in exchange, Garrett will help Hannah get the attention of Justin, their classmate, a fellow music major who plays in a band and has a sexy Australian accent. How will Garrett help her get the guy, you ask? Well, duh, they're gonna fake date. If Justin thinks she's with the star hockey player, then he will get jealous, ask her out, hook up with her, all of the above. It actually works, which is kind of the craziest part. Shenanigans ensue, and oh no, Hannah and Garrett actually fall in love while pretending to be in love. No, that would be horrible. Don't be a real couple. Which kind of leads me to the biggest problem I think the show has. The main couple is kind of boring. And I don't think it's the actors' faults. Both of them bring a lot of charm and charisma to their performances, especially the actress who plays Hannah. She is adorable and you're always rooting for her. So what is the problem? I think it is 3 things. 1, the writing. I read the book last night to compare, and honestly, I think the show has much better dialogue than the book, but I think the book makes it a lot more clear why these characters like each other and end up falling in love. 2, the chemistry. Again, the actors are good. I don't want to go too hard on them, but whatever X factor makes you cry over your favorite imaginary couple in a rom-com, they do not have it. 3, both of these problems become glaringly obvious when you put them next to the other couple on the show, Dean and Allie. Thinking about these two just brings a smile to my face. Their banter feels really natural and cute. The actors have so much chemistry, and they unfortunately steal the show for me. Off Campus has already been renewed for season 2, and I'm pretty sure it's going to focus on Allie and Dean's relationship, so I'm really excited about that. See, I already got distracted from our main couple, and that's kind of the point. Even so, Hannah and Garrett's story is really cute, and I had a lot of fun watching it. Which brings me to the plot. What is going on in the world of Off Campus? I'm so glad you asked. I'm going to give a quick season rundown so we are all on the same page. The first episode sets up the deal between Garrett and Hannah. We also learn that Hannah's composition scholarship has been terminated due to budget cuts, so she decides to enter a pop music showcase because the grand prize will allow her to afford to stay at Briar U. We are introduced to Garrett's roommates, the hockey boys. Tucker likes to cook, Dean likes to have in their living room, and Logan is poor and depressed and has a crush on Hannah. Sad, impoverished, and no bitches. John Logan is truly in the trenches this season. We're also introduced to Allie and Sean. Allie is a theater major. She is a girl's girl and a certified hot mess. I love her so much. She was probably my favorite character. Sean is irrelevant. Remy Wolf is in this episode for a long time, just like as herself playing her music, and that's really the only other important thing that happens. Episode 2, Hannah tutors Garrett while they continue their schemes to get Justin to notice her. Good thing Dean is throwing a party with his friend, and Justin is in their frat, so he will be there. At the birthday bash, Dean and Allie meet and dance to J-Lo. Oh my god, he's so hot. As our main couple are pretending to be a couple and trying to make Justin jealous, Garrett learns that Hannah doesn't like to drink at parties. They make sure Gossip Girl, gets a picture of them that she can post on her hockey gossip account before going upstairs to make it appear to the party that they are going to sleep together. In reality, both of them are so stubborn and want to let each other take the bed, so neither of them takes the bed until they start talking and bonding, and before you know it, they're both on the bed listening to music, and before you know it, they've fallen asleep in each other's arms. Oh no! Episode 3 is where we learn that Hannah, how do I say this in a YouTube-friendly way? She can't finish with a guy because when she was in high school, she had the kind of experience that makes you not want to drink at parties and not able to finish with a guy. This is not good for her because Justin has agreed to help her with her pop showcase song, and now that she's hanging around Garrett, he's suddenly very interested in her. Hannah goes to the hockey house to tutor Graham, but instead finds him with a naked woman in his room while Cherry Pie by Warrant blares in the background. She leaves in a huff because they are supposed to be a couple, and how will people think that if Garrett is whipping it out with any random woman? Also, she's jealous, but she doesn't want to admit that. He apologizes and said he was just nervous about the philosophy presentation, and the girl offered to take his mind off of it, but he's gonna lock in and focus. Meanwhile, Sean and Allie are in the shower discussing life plans. As you do, they start arguing because Sean thought Allie was going to move to Vermont with him when they graduate to be a stay-at-home wife, but Allie just got an agent and is full steam ahead with her acting career. Will they work it out? Hannah is daydreaming about making out with Justin, but suddenly he turns into Garrett? What? Oh no, what could this mean? The episode ends with all the characters at the bar that Allie and Hannah work at for karaoke night. Hannah gets super drunk because Garrett promised to watch her drinks for her. He is a protector. And she sings a cover of Cherry Pie, which is so funny. I would also do that if I were her, petty, jealous queen. Dee Dee Graham drives Hannah and Allie home, but Allie forgot her keys at the bar, so they can't get back into the dorm. So I guess Allie has to stay on the couch at the hockey house, and Hannah has to stay with Graham upstairs. Bummer. Hannah, while drunk, actually tries to seduce Garrett, but he just tells her to go to bed because she's drunk. In the morning, Hannah brings Garrett coffee and asks him to do her a favor. Will he, pretty please, as her friend, give her an Straight into episode 4, Hannah gives Garrett some much-needed context for this request. She tells him about the experience she had in high school and why she can't finish with a guy, and she's scared she's going to panic when she's with Justin, so she wants to do like a lower stakes trial run first with Garrett as a friend, of course. Will Garrett do her a solid and help her as a friend? Garrett is a selfless man, so he says absolutely, yes sir, and they make plans to meet up later that night. Allie officially breaks up with Sean, but because they've broken up and gotten back together so many times, he doesn't even believe her. R.I.P. Sean, you don't know how wrong you are. When night falls, Garrett and Hannah meet at the hockey house. Garrett is armed with advice from Dean about how to best achieve his goal. Dean says the answer is trust, so he tries to make Hannah feel comfortable, the vibe is romantic, and when she is too anxious to be physical with him, he stops, and they decide that she will get physical with herself, and he will get physical with himself together. And okay, I'm not immune to Hannah and Garrett. This scene was hot. Afterward, they're in the kitchen eating Tucker's pasta salad and having a bit of a moment, but that moment is ruined when Garrett gets a sext from someone else, so Hannah leaves. Garrett realizes he's into Hannah and should probably tell her. She's at Drunk Shakespeare tonight because Allie is performing, so the whole hockey gang is going to go to Drunk Shakespeare. Shenanigans ensue, and when it comes down to it, Garrett sees her laughing with Justin and instead decides not to tell her. He goes to the hockey rink to moodily shoot pucks into the net. Luckily, Hannah comes to her senses before Garrett does. She's talking to Justin and realizes that they just don't fit. Not like her and Garrett do. She goes to the rink and serenades him. They kiss. Aww. While this is happening, Allie is drunk and pulls up a contact in her phone labeled "Do Not Call" and calls them. We assume that it's Sean. How wrong we are. Episode 5, Garrett and Hannah are officially a couple, and it's the Thanksgiving episode. Tucker is so excited to make a full Thanksgiving dinner for all his friends, but Dean is going to New York. And Garrett and Hannah are going to Garrett's dad's house in Boston because Garrett's dad wants him to meet his fiancée, Cindy. Now, Garrett hates his dad, who again is a famous hockey player, and we don't really know why yet, but we are going to find out in this episode. Luckily for Tucker, his remaining friends are going to invite a ton of people to the hockey house for his Thanksgiving, and he will be stressed out while cooking for the entire duration of this episode. Hannah says goodbye to Allie for the holidays because Allie is going to New York as well. She tells Hannah that she's taking the bus, but after she leaves, she gets in a car. Mysterious. Hannah and Garrett go to his dad's house, and it's at this point I'm realizing how fast the show moves. They just got together, and now she is meeting his dad within the span of like an episode. But it doesn't really feel rushed in the show. They spend so much time not being a couple, but doing couple things together. So the timeline pretty much works for me. At the Graham house, everything goes well until the four of them sit down to say grace and Garrett sees bruises on Cindy's wrists. He's about to punch his dad by the looks of it. So Hannah covers for him, saying she's not feeling well, so they have to leave before dinner. Before they leave, Garrett and Cindy have a moment, and Garrett begs her to leave him because his mom died of cancer before she was able to. But Cindy just tells him that it's complicated, which is really sad. It felt like a very realistic and sensitive portrayal of the subject, which TV shows don't always do very well. Garrett is freaking out on the way home because he's scared of turning into his dad. It's here that we learn that his dad was also physical with him as a kid, but Hannah assures him that will never happen. He is nothing like his dad. Meanwhile, at the hockey house, Tucker almost sets the yard on fire while trying to deep fry his turkey, so everyone at the Friendsgiving just goes to the hockey rink instead to play with the dead bird as a puck, which is very funny. The end of the episode reveals that someone is at Dean's apartment in New York with him. Who is it? It's Allie. Episode 6. This was my favorite episode because we get the most of Allie and Dean. It rewinds all the way back to karaoke night when Allie crashes on the couch in the hockey house, but instead of following Garrett up the stairs, we see what happened right after that. Dean bursts through the door with not one but 2 women and literally falls on top of Allie while making out with them. After Allie and Dean start arguing, the 2 girls decide they don't need Dean and they're going back to suck face at their own apartment. Dean is so mad at Allie for ruining his threesome, but they both go outside to smoke a joint. This is where Dean gives Allie his number because Allie was talking to everyone at karaoke about how she was going to break up with her boyfriend. So he says, once you break up with your boyfriend, and you will, you're going to need a fun distraction to get your mind off of it. So call me. Allie changes his contact name to Do Not Call. So she wasn't calling Sean the night of Drunk Shakespeare. She was calling Dean to hook up with him. It was just supposed to be a one-time thing, but it slowly spirals out of control until all of a sudden she is carpooling with him to New York to hang out at his apartment after her Thanksgiving with her family. They are clearly really into each other, but Allie leaves after she freaks out because she is scared of what people, namely Sean and Hannah, will think if they find out that she's hooking up with Dean. Hannah and Garrett say, "I love you" for the first time, which is super cute, and Logan asks Garrett if he got a signed jersey from his dad at Thanksgiving for their annual hockey fundraiser. Garrett's like, "No, and I'm not gonna ask," which makes Logan mad because he benefited from that fundraiser. Remember, he's poor. When Logan asks why, Garrett's like, "You don't get it, man. You don't get my dad," which makes Logan even more upset. And I get it. Cut to the fundraiser. They are holding it at the bar Allie and Hannah work at. Logan went behind Garrett's back and got the signed jersey from Garrett's dad, which makes Garrett pretty upset. Dean is making heart eyes at Allie the whole night. And it ends up working. They reconcile, but she says that this has to be a secret. It can't be a relationship. No strings attached. They're just hooking up because Sean cannot find out. Unfortunately, later that very same night, Sean does find out. Not that she's sleeping with Dean, he just finds out that she's sleeping with someone. And he's like, "Wow, Allie, you really can't be alone, can you?" Which is going to make her spiral. Hot mess, Allie, I love you so much. See what I mean? This episode has a lot of Hannah and Garrett, but nothing super important or really even that memorable. The only other thing you need to know about this episode is Hannah decides she's going to do the pop showcase without Justin's help. And also the guy that made her afraid to drink in public, his name is Aaron, and he is the new center for the hockey team that Briar U is playing against tomorrow. Yikes. Episode 7 was probably my least favorite episode of the season. It was a lot sadder than all the other ones. Hannah has a panic attack because of the revelation in the previous episode. Garrett has a panic attack because his dad visits him at practice and Cindy is with him, meaning that she didn't leave him. And Allie has a great day because she gets to hang out with one of her theater idols, who convinces her to make out with a handsome stranger. Allie goes to Dean and tells him that she's not ready for a relationship, and he's like, "We're not in one." But they've only been seeing each other for the last month. So she tells him they can't sleep together again until they both sleep with other people first. A sexy homework assignment for the biggest man in the world. Dean says no problem. At the hockey game, Garrett can't get a hold of Hannah, and it's really affecting his game as well as his friendship with Logan because he's being an ass to him and all the guys on the team. And Logan kind of needs to win if he plans on getting drafted to the NHL and not being poor. After battling her own demons, Hannah does show up at halftime and apologizes to Garrett for not being there. He asks her if she's okay and she assures him that she's fine and kisses him before he goes out onto the ice. But Aaron, worst man in the world, sees them kiss and immediately recognizes her. At the face-off, Aaron tells Garrett that Hannah is a lying and Garrett immediately knows who that is. So naturally, he starts beating the shit out of him. Oh my god! Logan intervenes and stops Garrett from doing permanent damage, but Garrett gets suspended for the next 4 games. Hannah is furious with Garrett because he just risked his entire hockey career for her and she did not ask him to do that. She put this incident behind her and tried to forget about it, and he did not help. Garrett, on the other hand, is scared of how violent he got on the ice, especially because his father visited him after the game and was like, "Congrats, dude, that was some old school hockey stuff. That fight, nice." So in order to protect Hannah, he breaks up with her. He doesn't think he's good for her. He's scared that one day Hannah will look at him the same way Cindy looks at his dad. Now, as for beating up Aaron, I don't think Garrett did anything wrong. Get him again. The season finale! Garrett is suspended, so they need to find someone to replace him in the next hockey game. Someone on the team suggests Hunter Davenport, and Dean is immediately like, "No, I hate that guy, absolutely not." Interesting. Allie lives her best single life and sleeps with that hot guy she made out with last episode and doesn't even get his name because she is rushing to see Hannah perform at the pop showcase. At the hockey game, Garrett apologizes to all of his teammates for getting suspended and also causing them to have to forfeit the first 14 games of the season. Yeah, that also happened, but I don't have time to explain why. Garrett gives Logan the captain patch and all is forgiven. And even though Garrett can't play, they still win the game. Yay! Allie calls Dean to tell him that Hannah is playing the pop showcase, so Dean needs to get Garrett over to the auditorium stat. Hannah sings a great song. It's actually really cute and very well written, in my opinion. And even though she comes in second place, she has secured a paid internship for the next semester, so she should be good on tuition. Yay! And of course, Garrett and Hannah get back together after he watches her at the concert and tells her he loves her. So at the after party, Garrett and Hannah are officially a couple, happily ever after for them. But all is not well with the other characters. Dean tells Allie he didn't complete the sexy homework assignment because he really likes her. And Allie is like, "What? No, you have to complete the assignment. Because I did. And Dean's face just falls. But at that moment, who walks into the bar? I'll let you guess. Is it the hot nameless guy that Allie hooked up with? Or is it Hunter Davenport, Dean's sworn enemy? It's both. They're the same person. Oh no, Allie! Oh no, Dean. Hunter tells Dean they're going to be playing on the same team, and Dean loses it. Cue physical fight between Dean and Hunter Davenport. And that's the end of the season? You heard me right. That's it. We don't linger on a shot of the main couple. We don't get a final kiss. We get violence. And I guess it worked because I'm excited for the next season. But at what cost? Okay, let's start with the good because I clearly loved a lot of things about this show. For instance, the costumes, specifically Allie's costumes. Her drunk Shakespeare outfit was gorgeous, and so was her JLo dress for no reason. But also her everyday clothes were super cute, and I feel like they mirrored her emotional journey throughout the show, which I really loved. But the hockey jerseys looked cool, Hannah's outfits were cute, and I also liked how they dressed Justin. I feel like I knew 17 different guys who dressed exactly like him when I was a music major in college. Costumes, great. Acting, great! I thought everyone handed in good performances. I especially love the scene where Garrett and Hannah break up. It's super emotional, the stakes feel high. I love the phone call between Hannah and her mom in that same episode. That was the only scene in the show that made me cry. All of the heavier emotional scenes I feel like were done really well, which is kind of surprising because they're juggling some pretty heavy topics alongside silly romance tropes. I love the dynamic between the boys. You believe that they're all friends, and the dialogue between them is always really funny. The same goes for Allie and Hannah. They really feel like best friends. I love that none of the female characters are written to be villains. They're just flawed people like the boys. There's even this girl, Kendall, who is crushing on Garrett and is a little bit rude to Hannah, but it's only because Garrett was so rude to her. Once he apologizes for blowing her off, she accepts his apology and goes, "Damn, and I was having so much fun being a bitch." Like, that is funny. That feels like something a real person would say after crashing out a little bit. I also like that they pulled a lot from Allie and Dean's book to incorporate into this season because they were my favorite part of the show. I still think they have a lot to work with for the second season, and that way they can start to hopefully weave in Logan's love story as well. I said I read the first book, and I did. I also read book 2 and book 3. So I read Garrett's story, Dean's story, and Logan's story. And they were all pretty good. I enjoyed them. They were fast reads. I saw book fans online upset about some of the changes the show made. For instance, in the books, after Garrett and Hannah break up, Garrett declares a campus-wide hands-off law on Hannah so none of the boys can date her. I much prefer the show version where one of the guys on the hockey team just spreads that as a rumor, but Garrett had nothing to do with it. I don't think that would have read the same on screen. I think it would have come off as kind of controlling and a little creepy, so I'm glad that they changed that. The writers also did a pretty good job at choosing what lines to pull from the book and what lines to leave on the page. I think book fans sometimes think that they want to hear specific lines, but they don't always translate when a live human person is saying them, especially in romance. They did a good job, but they weren't perfect, which brings me to the bad. The dialogue in the show can sometimes be a little hard to hear. Not like it's quiet, but like, ugh, that was hard to hear. This honestly doesn't really bother me that much because I have yet to watch a romance movie or TV show that doesn't have some cringy lines. I feel like it's part of the charm. The problem is most of the bad dialogue is between Garrett and Hannah, and it's usually them trying to flirt, but it's not coming off as natural or fun or sexy for that matter. The whole scene of their first kiss, the dialogue leading up to it, made me laugh so hard, and I don't think that's what the writers were trying to achieve. Of the 3 books I read in the series, Hannah and Garrett were my least favorite couple, so it might just be a preference thing, but I would probably have loved this season a lot more if I had been more invested in their relationship. And I think they could have done that by just having more scenes of the two of them together after they were officially a couple. Because it kind of feels like the show gives up on them a little bit. I don't know. But then we did get more Allie and Dean as a result, so that did make me happy. Second, this is also not a big thing, but the product placement was distracting. I always find it distracting in every show. I notice it more in Prime shows, but every streamer has this issue. Whatever, I understand that they have to make money. I try to ignore it as best as I can. The Liquid IV product placement was distracting. Also, I wish we would have gotten more of Tucker this season. He was mainly there for comedic relief, but Jalen Thomas Brooks is such a good actor character, and I would have loved to see more of his character. But I'm sure we'll get that in later seasons. Lastly, I think that the show would have benefited from having 1 or 2 more episodes. I read somewhere that it was originally going to be 10 episodes, but they cut it down to 8, and I think that was a mistake. Like I said, the pacing was fine, but I would have loved to see more of Hannah and Garrett's relationship, and the fact that they become a couple and say I love you in the span of like an episode and a half makes it a little harder to be fully on board with their story. My favorite part, the crazy. Let's talk about the crazy. These were the moments in the show that made my jaw drop. They were absolutely unhinged to me. 1, Allie and Sean looking at a calendar of positions, which does contribute to their eventual breakup. 2, the scene where Hannah is tutoring Garrett in the weight room and they kiss and he's like, "You're blushing." So she goes and makes out with Logan to prove to Garrett that her blushing has nothing to do with him, actually. And the expression on Logan's face after she kisses him was so funny. 3, the scene where Hannah asks Garrett to give her an orgasm and he agrees, and then he's like, "You mean now?" And she goes, "No, not now, I have class." That was funny! 4, Dean calling himself Six Flags because everyone has ridden him. Oh my god, you animal. 5, the side plot in episode 4 where Tucker is getting hazed and is forced to take care of a piece of fruit, but every time he loses the fruit, it's replaced by a larger fruit. He starts out the episode with a grape and ends it cradling a watermelon like a baby. 6, the whole scene of Tucker walking in on Dean in the bathtub while Allie is hiding under the water so they don't get caught together. You know why it's funny. 7, the scene in episode 8 where Hannah goes to the men's locker room and we get not 1, not 2, but 3 different shots zooming in on the guys' packages. It was crazy. The whole show, there's not that much nudity, and all of a sudden it was all the nudity everywhere all at once. And lastly, of course, the whole premise of the deal at the beginning is absolutely ridiculous if you think about it for more than 5 seconds. Tutoring in exchange for fake dating this popular guy to get the guy that you're actually into to notice you. This is the kind of rom-com logic that would never ever happen in real life, but you do have to accept it if you're going to enjoy the show. Fake dating is obviously a super popular romance trope, but every time I see it, I'm always like, who would do that? Why would you come up with that? Why is that the first plan that came to your head? Whatever, I'm not going to complain too much about it because it is the trope on which the show is based, and if you don't like that trope, you're probably not going to like this show, so deal with it. I also understand that they need to get people excited for a second season, but there's some questions that didn't get answered that I would like to know. Why does Dean hate Hunter Davenport? What happens to Sean? After he finds out Allie is sleeping with someone, he leaves and we don't see him for the rest of the season. Will Cindy leave Garrett's dad? I don't think we're going to get an answer on that one, which is kind of sad. Why is Jules so annoying? I didn't bring this up earlier, but I didn't really like her. The actress did a good job, but I didn't really like the character. As Gossip Girl, she felt more like a plot device than like a living, breathing person. And I don't feel like her presence contributed to my enjoyment of the season. Is Garrett going to go pro after college? In the book, Garrett does love hockey, but in the show, it seems more like he's doing it for his dad's approval. It's an internal struggle the show sets up, but doesn't really get resolved, and I'm unsure if they're planning to explore that next season. Lastly, is Logan going to get a prescription for antidepressants? I think he deserves it. I think he needs them. Overall, I do prefer the show to the books, but I watched the show before I read the books. If the order had been reversed, I might feel differently. And those are all of my thoughts on Off Campus Season 1. I really enjoyed this show. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's everything that I love. So if you are a romance girly like me, check it out. You will probably enjoy it just as much as I did, even though if you watched this far, I have spoiled the entire thing. Anyway, I'm Sophia Lynch. Thanks for watching. I have music out on all streaming platforms, including this very YouTube channel. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you want to watch more of my stuff. Like I said, I am recapping House of the Dragon before Season 3 comes out, and I think I do a good job. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.